beginning of July, I developed a pretty severe chest infection. My GP came to visit me and put me on antibiotics, but the following night I was getting in a bad way, and I also, because I'm diabetic, managed to let my sugar get rather low, and I ended up on the floor, unable to get up. So the paramedics were called, and in I went. My first impressions of 25 was, I don't know what I'm doing here. The bay I was in had 9 people, including myself, and I had the impression they had been told, in order to get on with their work and do what they had to do, not to make eye contact with any patient unless they wished to speak to him. I think the environment for a reasonably sane person, which I believed I was totally unacceptable. I really didn't understand why I'd been placed on that ward, but I do know the answer. I didn't understand the logic behind applying it, and the answer was that I was 75 years old, and if you're 75 years old, you go on a geriatric ward, irrespective of what's wrong with you. I thought A&E was excellent. Obviously it was busy, it was late at night, but I was dealt with alacrity, I would say. And AMU, I think I spent 2 nights on AMU before I went to Ward 25. That had an excellent atmosphere, the staff were super. The staff on Ward 25 were okay, but they were grossly overworked, so far as I could see. My main disappointment was with the situation on the ward. I mean, the medical care and attention I had, I couldn't fault. They had suspected that I'd perhaps had a minor heart attack when I was taken in. In actual fact, I had a major chest infection for which I needed some very powerful antibiotics, and I got them, 1 into each arm at one stage. The only complaint I did have was that patient communication, telling me at all stages what they were doing and why they were doing it. It wasn't bad, but I had to ask for it. I would like them to pay more attention to emergency calls. When I felt I wanted a bath, one of the nurses said, "I'll give you a bath, Frank, in a little while." So I saw her later. I said, "Is it all right if I go in the bath?" "Yeah, I'll come and see you in a minute." But anyway, I climbed into it and I had my bath, and then I came to get out. I could not get out. For a start, I couldn't stand up. There was nothing. There were no grab handles. It just had a rolled edge on it, and there were no handles I could get. Nor could I reach the emergency cord, because it was beyond the end of the bath at the tap end. So I got as far as I could towards the tap end, and by wafting my arms like this created a draft and got the cord swinging about until I could grab it, and then I pulled it. Again, there was no response to this, and the lady knew I'd gone in. But there I was in this bath. I tried to get out. I fell over backwards once, but luckily the water was deep enough to cushion me. But if I'd had a very shallow amount of water, I might have banged my head quite badly. But in the end, I managed to struggle onto my knees, and then I got one leg over the bath side, and I did get out. But I thought that wasn't terribly satisfactory. But it comes into the same category of not responding to emergency calls. And I was astounded to see that they had tabards that they put on at certain times that said, "Do not disturb," on the back. And I thought, is this a hospital or what? You know, do not disturb. They were nurses, they were walking around with notices on the back saying, "Do not disturb." I found that rather odd, but I could see what they were doing. They were dispensing drugs, but they didn't want to talk to other patients. You know, they just, "I'm doing this job, don't disturb me. Even if you're dying, I'm still doing this job." More attention should be paid to the condition of the patient and his own abilities, or lack of, before making a decision as to where he goes on the basis simply of his age.